David Teems is with us. He is the author of Speak to Me, and also the voice that you hear on the beautiful CD by the same title, Speak to Me. Also the author of Majesty, the king behind the King James Bible. I'm interested in the translation of the King James Bible because it really informs Speak to Me, and it's the translation that you read. What were the most powerful elements of it, and how do they affect us today?
Well, I think the most powerful elements for me is aside from the fact of when it was put together between 1604 and 1611, you know, during Shakespeare's best years and certainly James's best years, is the lyrical element. The King James translators were all Elizabethans. You know, they were all in their middle age by the time they started putting together the translation. And just for a little backstory, King James, it was in a conference called the Hampton Court Conference. On the second day of the conference, one of the Puritan complainers, almost as an afterthought, it wasn't even on their agenda, suggested, Your Majesty, they had beaten down all of their requests, given them nothing, given the Puritans nothing. And one of the last resorts was, Your Majesty, we feel a new translation should be made. And James, it was almost like epiphany settled over James, because James, when he came to be the English king, he brought with him this divided psychology, this damaged, he was damaged goods. He was a very damaged man. And part of what he saw in his new translation was almost like a self-medication. Now, you have to read deeply into the life of James to see that. But he was a study in contrast, but he wanted his book to reflect majesty. He wanted it to be, he called it the Irenicon, the thing of peace, to where it could bring peace to not only himself, but to the realm itself. One of his bigger dreams was to unite all of Christendom. But I think that's the charm for me with the King James Bible, and it's something that we should never lose sight of, in spite of the fact that this is 2011, 400 years downstream, because it represents something that was excellent about our English past, a time of our English linguistic past that we will never see again. Shakespeare had a vocabulary of 20,000 plus words, where you and I today may have 8 to 10,000. That's a very educated person today. So the word, the spoken word, was a very powerful element back then. And so there's not another translation like the King James Bible, but those are the things that charm me the most about it.
What you'll be able to do, friends, with Speak to Me, both in terms of the booklet and also, but especially in terms of the CD, is just sit back, close your eyes, and listen to this beautiful lyrical quality as heaven speaks to your soul.